Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this fourth session of the summer course Strengthening European Identity through Culture and Education and How to Manage It. Today, we have a day dedicated to innovation and creativity to foster entrepreneurship and economics development. And let's say that most of the day will be led by, and it's a good word chosen, lead, by Professor Jan van Zwieten, who is Rector of the Netherlands Business Academy. He has dedicated his life also to sports. He has a military career, and he's an expert on leadership. And we are going to have a very interactive morning, as you can see in the program. He entitled his speech or session, Introduction to Working Groups, the Essential of Innovative Entrepreneurships Outside the Usual Boundaries. We had a little aperitif a couple of days ago, so we are looking forward very much to see what you are preparing today for us. So Jan, thank you very much for being here with us. I should say he's also one of the leaders behind this project, because it's the Netherlands Business Academy who is taking the lead to organize this master we are preparing on culture, education, and citizenship. So he really has a clear idea what he's expecting from us, and he's going to apply that knowledge of leadership to culture, and he's going to show us in some way how culture can be useful for economic entrepreneurship development. Jan, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel, and especially with the last words, because this is the biggest challenge, of course, for me. I know nothing about culture and art, so I know nothing about Europe, so thank you very much. But together, I think we will manage. But first of all, of course, it's good to have some input. And therefore, yesterday I observed, that's the good thing if you just sit on the side, you can observe, and observed what are the students doing during the lectures? And to me, it was quite obvious that there's one thing you're really good at. Is it possible to have the presentation on the screen? Miguel? Yeah, thank you. This is the behavior of students during lectures. So you're great with your phones. Who is having his cell phone with him, or her, of course? Okay. Please take it. Please take it. Please take your cell phone. And I'd like you to go to the internet. Please go to the internet to this address. With that code. Yes? The password is the number you see over there, the code. So if you submit the password, then it should be that, one is in. Please try to submit. We only have one person, 2. Hey, that's going up. 100% rise. 3, 4, 5. Now we're talking. We have already 12 people who are in. Yeah? Yeah? 13. Okay, we already have 17 people in. That's quite representative.
Can you repeat the password?
The password is up there. The password is 106217. 20 people in. Very good. Okay. Let's start. We have some questions prepared where we really like to hear your opinion about. So, what I'd like you to do, I will give you the next slide, but please hold your horses, not too fast, please. Only press submit when I ask you to. Yes? Let's see how much discipline there is in this group. So, let's go to the next. Do you see the questions on your screen? National leaders support. Oh, I'm offline. Wow. That's even worse.
Try this one, Alex. Try the one, Alex.
Well, I have one.
Alex.
I have put it on my phone.
You look for those who have your data, look for Alex. Guess, Alex, guess. And not for everybody because it's running out, so if you have data, use the data.
Okay, people who are in, 23 people. Do you see the questions on the screen? Yes? I'd like you to move the bullets to the number you think, somewhere between 1 and 10. 1 means you strongly disagree, 10 means you strongly agree. Wait with submit till I ask you to, was the question. Already one person broke the rules. Okay, did we put our score in? Please submit now. Okay. Let's look at the scores. All 23 now submitted. National leaders support Europe, 5.8. I'm really a bit surprised about this. I mean, yesterday we did it with the staff. Bart, you will remember the score yesterday. I think it did not reach the 5.8, yes? Something like that. 2.8 the other lecturers were giving for this. You give it 5.9. Is this young people being quite positive about it, or? What do you think about it? 5.9 on this. We will talk about leadership later, so it will be back in the first workshop. But the second one, of course, is even more important. National leaders inspire people for Europe, 4.4. For most questions, we will come back to it during the lecture. Let's go to the next one. Okay, you can submit. You also in?
Yeah, I need to. They want to make photos from here.
Okay. Even 24, numbers rising. Okay, I think a little bit positive. So, where is Dimitar? Not here? No? Oh, sorry Dimitar, you're too close. What do you think about the second one? Inequity and hardship are the basis of populism.
Yeah, I would agree. I would definitely more than 2.5.
Well, it's now 3.1 for the
Maybe
people.
I would give it a little bit more, but yeah.
Then they didn't listen well enough to your speech, or they're very academic thinking, critically thinking.
No, not necessarily, because I wasn't even pointing out that only those were the causes of populism. Quite in fact, there were cases when societies were economically quite advanced, for example, Poland and Czech Republic, and still populism was rising even there. So identity can play in a different way as well.
And the first one, can you comment on that? If
Can you go back to it, please?
no, if prosperity is up, the first,
Yeah.
without.
The growth of democracy.
If prosperity is up, if welfare is higher, then democracy will come by itself. So more money for the people, better living conditions will automatically raise the level of democracy.
It's not necessarily true.
Okay.
No.
Thank you for the comments. Next question. Of course, more in my line.
Okay, yeah, that's well known. But there are a lot of people who don't have. Jan, can you read the questions?
Of course. But I will do it with the... But just to think, business is more important for Europe than art. Sport is more important for Europe than art. And the majority of people is interested in art and culture.
Is your opinion or your impression?
It's a question. It's a statement.
Is personal opinion or?
What do you think the majority of people will think?
Okay.
So what do you think that for the people in Europe is the answer? Not your personal opinion.
What do you mean with Europe?
The citizens of Europe. Very good remarks, by the way. Okay. If we look at the results, business is more important than art. Sport is more important than art. And the majority of people is interested. Well, I think Bart made some comments yesterday on business, that the European Union started on the economic basis. Can you please comment on the first one?
Well, we've learned yesterday that Europe started after the Second World War with an economical raison d'être. And now that's the game shift, is that we are going to education and culture as a raison d'être. That's the mind shift.
But is it a real shift, or is the first one still as valid as most of the students say?
Of course, it's still valid, but we have a free market, and we have the internal free market, so it's already working.
Okay.
It's business as usual.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, the second one is, of course, just because it's my interest. Let's not talk too long about that one. And the third one, well, if we think that art is a way to make a shift in Europe, then it must be important to people. So you're a bit mixed on that one. Next questions. 3 to go. If you're ready, you can submit. Does Europe really show itself to the people? Do people hear enough of Europe by all the institutes or all the people that think that they represent Europe? Microfoon even Isabel geven. Okay, the first and well, these questions are about communication. We'll come back to that in the workshops. I think this is a nice indicator for it. On the second one, I'd like to hear Isabel's comment, because to me, in her story, what strikes me is that she says memory is very important. And we had a discussion afterwards.
Yes.
So can it also be a burden to the future? I mean, if you made war, how can you be friends afterwards? And if you have a memory which makes you feel really big in your nationalism, doesn't it block feeling part of a bigger thing? Please.
You were opening up like a big can of worms with this one, because it's really difficult to answer just in a sentence. Especially because memory and forgetting are abstract terms that don't have any meaning without any kind of historical content. So yeah, I think memory is actually important, but people have raised this issue. Maybe we should forget. Maybe we should let things go and let them slide after decades of not getting on with peace building and conflict resolution. But forgetting is not something, I mean, you can enforce it, you can repress things, but it's like a person repressing some hurt, bad feelings that it will come up anyways, come out in different forms later. And I don't think that forgetting is a good way to operate, because then it will make you repeat things as well, which you don't necessarily want. And historians are a little bit frantic about repeating past conflicts and past wars and genocides. So in this sense, it's always good to remind ourselves about what is possible to happen and how long-lasting effects that these things have.
Thank you very much for this extra explanation. Please keep in mind for the workshops that you scored about 3 out of 5 on all the communication aspects. Okay, next two. The last questions. And if you're done, you can submit. Will you comment on this? These are your questions. We're almost done. 28 people are in, so. Okay, everybody there? 27, 1 lacking. Too difficult a question for that person. Okay, these questions were raised by Miguel, so he will comment on it.
Well, thank you, Jan. Well, the first one, well, I think I already commented something yesterday in one of my interventions, is about, well, the nonsense of having anti-European and populist parties represented in the European institutions. I mean, European institutions are to make work Europe and European Union work, and to fight for European values. So it doesn't make sense for me that people who is not supporting these ideas and this kind of progress we are trying to build up, and peace in Europe and integration and solidarity and all the concepts behind the European integration are having support to fight against that. So for me there is a gap. There is something that is not going well in the democratic process we are working on right now. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't believe in democracy. Of course, I believe totally in democracy. But I think we are, as Europeans, being maybe a little bit too diplomatic, too naive, when thinking that, well, because we are giving the voice to those who, to everybody, let's say, to everybody, we can risk our work because of that. Because we can see that the populists and the people who is anti-European is not doing that in a constructive way. I mean, you can be anti-certain policies, or you can be against certain policies or decisions taken by the European Union and try to improve them. But a different thing is that you are trying to destroy that. So for me, there is no space for that in Europe. And it has to do with the second question, is democracy to kill the democracy? Is a sentence we hear more and more every day. So for me, it's needed to rethink the European democratic process. Of course, democracy is the best thing we have right now to live together, but you have to adapt it to the circumstances too. That is my opinion. I can see that it has some support, so I'm happy that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
But one question, where is the limit of freedom of expression, right?
You have total freedom of expression. I mean, you can have your opinion, you can discuss about that, but let's say, if I bring you into my house and you start to break down everything, you have no space in my house. I mean, I bring you to my house to have a better environment in my house, because I think together we can do something better. If you are here to destroy me, then you don't have a space in my house. I mean, you can have your opinion, you can work against me, but no from inside. I mean, try to do it from outside, but why should I have you in my network? Let's say here we have a group of 5 partners, and I'm one of the partners in this project, my foundation. Let's think that I start to do as much as I can to destroy the project. I mean, I'm here and I signed an agreement to work for a common goal, not to destroy the project. So I will understand that these people will keep me out of the project, because I know supporting and I know following the agreement I signed. And when you are a country or you are a European member of the European Parliament, you are supposed to contribute, not to destroy. You can criticize, but it's not just about criticizing, it's also about giving solutions. It's about trying to look for alternative solutions, but trying to get the objectives we all are working for. That is the difference. I mean, I'm not saying that you don't have freedom of expression, you have it, but be constructive.
I totally disagree with populism, but I think that it's not your house. I think it's everyone's house. So it's no. I mean, but no. I mean, it will. I will be included also in yours, but I mean, it's also the house of populism, because they are representing the people who voted for them. So as long as they respect the non-discrimination and all that, I think that they can express that their thoughts about even against Europe, as long as they respect non-discriminating and all that. Mm-hmm. But I think that being banned just for thinking against Europe, I think that it's not really
don't you think it's a little bit even stupid, I should say? Because you can criticize Europe. Well, first of all, for me, we should not question Europe anymore existence. We can discuss on policies, we can discuss on problems, and we can discuss on how to solve them and the way to solve them, but not about the Europe should exist or not. That is my opinion, because it's like we have problems in Spain, we have immigration, unemployment, corruption, technologies, energy problems. Every country has, but you don't question the country. You don't question the country, the existence of the country. You question the problems you have and how to solve them. And for me, the European Union is the game. I think the European Union showed that it's a very well constructed project, and it can solve many problems. So let's see how it can solve. And we are paying that people. On top of that, that is why I say we are a little bit stupid, because these people is living from Europe. They are having very nice salaries, diplomatic passports, whatever, and they are fighting against Europe. So it's a little bit no sense. I mean, you can do that, but not from inside, because then you have all the tools to attack us. You know what I mean? It's the thing that. give there. First of all, wait. First of all,
Okay.
we are going to give because you were here. Sorry for that.
I wanted to add to what Agustin said, that I think we are mixing the reason with the symptom. I mean, banning parties, I think is not the solution, because we are not talking about inequality and that the European Union failed when many people were losing their houses, they were having problems, and we are not talking about that. I think Democrats we should reflect on that. We didn't do the work we expected from the European Union, and that's why we have populist parties trying to break Europe. I think the answer is not banning the people who are actually now representing a big part of Europe we are not talking about here on these days, I think.
Yeah, but it's not that I'm trying to ban the people that is not happy with Europe. I mean, well, on one side, I have two answers for you. It's not Europe's fault. People is losing their jobs, and it's everybody's fault. I mean, we tend to blame Europe about that. It's local, regional, and national politics who are the ones taking the decisions. Don't blame Europe about something that is not an external body that was coming from the space and is telling us what we have to do. It's us. Europe is us. First of all, you have to wear that in mind, okay? And from there, you solve the problems, but don't go against the system. Don't try to destroy the system. And that is what is this question about. I mean, you have people inside which is questioning and trying to destroy the European Union. It's not trying to say, well, you are having very bad decisions on immigration, on employment, or energy supply. So, no, it's not that. I mean, I need people like that because it's the only way to improve. You are doing it in the wrong way. You should do that and that and that. But we are not questioning that. And it's no, for me, it's no argument that it's because Europe, the populists exist because Europe did a bad war. No. I mean, it wasn't Europe. And maybe there is the problem, the communication, because people is having that feeling, because local and national politicians are selling that message. When something is going wrong, it's Europe, is the one who came from the space. No, but the one who came from the space, the ship from the space, were commanded by you. So you are the one taking the decisions. That is the problem. It's a nonsense that we are having people inside the European Union pay by the European Union to destroy the European Union. I mean, it's not about criticizing, it's not about complaining the way. I mean, I'm not banning anyone. I want a party that criticizes Europe and that looks for solution, but on top of that, those parties are fostering or are fighting against European values. I mean, they are xenophobic, they are, I mean, all these kind of things that we are fighting for years, they promote that. How can you have someone in your house that is trying to promote and support all the things you are fighting against? It's no sense.
But from my point of view, we are only talking about extreme right populism in Europe, and we are not talking about left-wingers, populists, which are looking for, not for immigrants or for, they are saying, maybe we have private companies or other actors in the arena that are looking for their interest instead of everybody's interest, and that maybe Europe is not democratic enough.
Yeah, maybe Europe can be improved. That is true. Maybe it could work in a better way. Maybe it could be more hard power and not soft power. Maybe should you use more the tools it has and the articles in the treaties that exist to avoid these kind of things. That's true. So let's try to do that. But here we are discussing about something different. It's about these people that is fighting against Europe and is inside Europe. So it's not fighting because we could improve that and we could, no. It's fighting about principal European values they are cutting freedom of expression, they are xenophobic, it's not that they are not following the rules, it's not just that. It's that they are promoting everything that Europe is trying to defend. That is the main problem for me, is what I see. For me, it's a nonsense. We can have all kinds of opinions, but I will never cut freedom of expression. I will never ban any political party as far as this political party is ready to contribute to the project and not break the rules and the law. I mean, otherwise you have to be punished. It's like the case of Hungary, the Article 7. I mean, you are not following the rules. Okay, you have a space in the council. But if you don't follow the rules, there is an article that says you cannot vote, you cannot participate, you are out. That is what I mean. You don't follow the rules, you are out. I don't follow the rules in the project, we are working here together, I'm out. It's that simple. You follow, it's a very, maybe we don't use democracy enough. Maybe democracy works, but we don't use it enough. Yeah.
I am a little bit in the middle. I think that Beppe Grillo or Mélenchon, their view is interesting for the debate of Europe. But for example, in Greece, Golden Dawn, they are criminals. They should be banned. So it depends of the kind of populism. It's not the same the Scottish National Party than Marine Le Pen, for example.
Yeah, and I totally agree with that. That is why I say we have to follow the rules and apply the law. It's the rule of law. So we should be able to apply the law because we have the tools, but we don't have the courage to apply that. Do you really think Article 7 will be applied? Is anyone thinking in the room Article 7 will be applied? I don't think so. Why? Because you need unanimous vote. So Hungary is Spanish, but who is next? Poland? Okay, let's talk with Poland. So they vote with us against this application. So it's not going. Bulgaria already said that it's not going to support the application of Article 7. But we have to have the courage to apply the law. So it's, as you say, you have different, let's say, it's not just populism. I mean, you can be populism, I mean, it doesn't hurt that much as far as you can, in some way, be constructive. You can create, because normally populism is taking very basic information to convince people who is maybe in the level of education or in a very difficult situation about the things in a very easy way. And they just want to have support and votes. But the problem is, and if you are intelligent enough and you have the tools, you can easily say, well, this is not what I want. I mean, so people can fight populism, normal populism. But when you go further and you break the law, then you have to have the tools to fight against these people. And the easiest way is, I mean, you are not going to arrest them. It's not a kind of a oppression system where people, no. I mean, you just don't, you are not part of my team because you are fighting against my team. That is my thought behind this.
Maybe we can do the discussion further afterwards. There are a lot of questions. I must say, this is the most relaxed lecture I have ever given. Thank you, Miguel. Big hand for Miguel. Thank you.
Well, we tried to bring the topic into the room because we thought it was important.
It is very important, and please make his life miserable. And during coffee breaks, etc., go to him. Keep on asking. Okay. Well, we already are way out of time, and it was promised that you will get a very boring lecture of at least 1 hour about principles of leadership. So, well, I need your permission to change the program of today. We planned 3 workshops. I would suggest that we still do the leadership part. That's 1 hour maximum, I promise you. to try to be in time on that. And then we have 2 workshops, maybe a little longer, and we have some more time for discussion in that. We will compress 2 of the subjects. Is that okay for you? Yeah? Then I also would suggest that you all stand up for some minutes now, please. Because sitting too long is terrible. It will cost you 7 years of your life. So put some adrenaline there. Give your body a rest. Great. Now start singing the hymn. Yeah? Okay.
Are we finished with the meter, with the Mentimeter? Is finished?
Yeah. We are finished with the Mentimeter. Yes, you can log out. Sorry. Forgot to say that. Okay. If you like, during the day, it's always permitted to stand up, and you can stand somewhere to the side, because if you feel sleepy, it's much better to stand, and I can understand that you will feel sleepy today, so just do so. Don't be embarrassed. I will only like it a lot. Okay, please. People who want to sit can sit. People who want to stand, stay standing up. We finished yesterday. Can I have the presentation mode, please? Alex, presentation. So, we finished yesterday, oh no, not yesterday, I think it was already 2 or 3 days ago, with the characteristics of a leader. What is a leader? Yeah? What was very short, what was the definition of a leader? At least in my perspective. Anyone can remember? A person, well, let's not go too much in the interaction, we can do that in the workshops, but the thing is, a leader has objectives, he wants to reach them, and he needs people to reach them. That was the basic, and he had 3 basic elements to do it with: mental, physical, emotional. Yeah? Remember? Okay. So, it's very important, this discussion, this talk, lecture if you want, will be mostly about leadership in business, but in my opinion we can apply it completely also to the situation in Europe. So, in a business it's very important to understand that we have not just one conception of leadership, but we have several levels. And the first level is general leadership. And with general leadership, we mean actually what we are talking about now all the time, the big leaders, the big influencers on top. And in this you have 2 different forms: the formal power, politicians, warlords, who really have formal power to force things, and thought leaders, influencers. And that can go even as far as Bono or other people. Yeah, that's general leadership. The second level is corporate leadership. So what's the difference between general leadership and corporate leadership? In corporate leadership, you are CEO of a company, and you have 2 roles also, but these are different. First, you're the face of the company to the outside world. Second, you're the face to the inside of the company. If you look at the Foundation, Miguel represents here the Foundation to all the people over here, but at the same time, he's the CEO to his people, and he needs to inspire his people also. So these are 2 different things. And you can be very good at one and not very good at the other. And then we have personal leadership. Personal leadership is always when there is a direct contact between the person leading and the other. So if you have a very big company, many people only know the CEO by the picture, or maybe they've seen him walking somewhere in a building, but they do not have daily or direct contact. But in a team, in a group, you have a direct contact, and that makes it completely different in your leadership. So actually, the job of a corporate leader is quite difficult because he has all these aspects. And this personal leadership can also be divided in the real personal, the one-to-one. I'm your manager, so we have a direct contact. But also in a team. And then, of course, it's much more difficult because all these people within the team will react on each other. These are all different roles in leadership. But they have a lot in common. But there are also a lot of differences. And we have to understand what role we are talking about to be able to understand the principles of it. Yes? Okay. We very shortly talked about the 4 axes. I want to go into that a little bit more deep. So, first of all, this is the IQ X. So what do the axes represent? The axes are what is the capability of people? What can they bring? What can they do? What energy can they give? What is influencing their energy and what is influencing their actions? So if we understand the axis, we can understand how to get people doing what we would like them to do. And this is on all levels. And you can even apply the 4 axes on companies. So the IQX, where does IQ stand for? Very well. Intelligent quotient, yes. So what do we mean by it? On the intelligent quotient, it's about knowledge, how to apply it, competences. It's about the rational capacity. Yes? And every X has 4 aspects. So also this one. Where does it start? To get competences. I want to learn how to drive the car. So I step into the car and an instructor will tell me first what it's all about, what are the pedals for, what is the steering wheel, etc. Maybe some rules in traffic. So it's all about knowledge. And then, what will the instructor make me do? I will start driving, the know-how. Yeah? And then after some time, I practice well, I'm allowed to go for my driver's license. I've mastered it. Am I a good driver at that moment? At that moment we think we are, but I can assure you, before you become an expert, you have to practice a little bit more. Is this all there is? Do we only hire people for their competences, for their knowledge? Of course not. And especially in leadership, other aspects are even more important. So we have 2 more axes. The physical cue and the EQ. What is physical cue? We call it the energetic capacity. Oh, sorry. It's what God gave us, what we have to do it with. the body, the physical part, your brain, everything. Yeah? And why is this important in management and leadership? Because how fit you are determines how much performance you can deliver. Yeah? If you're top fit and you're reading something, it's a piece of cake. But if you feel like this, very tired, maybe a little bit ill, then you have to read it 3 times to have the same message, yes? So that is very important. The EQ, what is that about? Emotional quotient, but what is emotion? Emotion, where in the body, we are simple sports people, where in the body is emotion? I have to disappoint you. I mean, mostly we talk in business about mental, emotional, physical, and with physical we mean the body, with mental we mean the brain, and with emotional we mean the heart. But in sports we learned the heart is just a pump. Sorry. So, where is emotion? Emotion is in the brain. It's just physical. One part of the brain is about the rational, one part about the brain is the creativity, and one part in the brain can be about love or hate or sadness or whatever. It's all just chemistry. So, what is on the EQ? On the EQ is how you use it. How you use it in the relation to other people. So this is the social capacity. And also this, of course, is in 4. Sorry for my handwriting. I hope you can read it. If not, you don't lose anything. So where does it start? Where does this X start? With whom does it start? Always with self. And why? Why does it start with self? Most people think it starts with self because if you go up and you go to the interaction with other people, it's important. Yes, of course it is. But that's only the second reason. The first reason is about this. What does this circle represent? Well, close, very good. This circle represents my personal performance capacity. The size and the form of this circle decides the possibilities I have, the capacity I have to perform. Is this always a round circle? We train all these business people, finance, technical, whatever, maybe even politicians. What does their circle mostly look like? Will we exaggerate a lot? Something like this? And is this a bad thing? No, it's logical. What kind of people do we hire in the companies? Mostly the smartest people from the university or wherever, or the best craftsmen or the best people. And what do we want them to do? We want them to deliver production. So this is perfect. They were trained for years. How many days of training on your IQX did you have in your life? I think you cannot even count it, yes? Okay, and then for 2 or 3 years you did very well on that part. And then we are going to reward you. And what will be your reward? All of a sudden we make you a manager. You can lead other people, EQX. Or you can go to clients, EQX. You have a lot of discussions with your colleagues, EQX. Oh, this is not where we are trained for. How much training do you get on that one? Even if you have 1 course, 2 courses, people say, wow, this was a lot. But compare it to how much training you got on the IQ. And which of the 3 is the most important for your capacity? For your performance? Actually, I asked you a question in this short hour we had, and I asked you, what is giving you energy? What is driving you? How many answers did I get on the IQX? None. They were all about people, emotions. So what I always say about my sports people, about my tennis players, if they cannot handle the racket, IQ, they don't stand a chance. If they're not fit, physical, they don't stand a chance. But it will not make them win the game, because the others also know how to do it. They win the game on the EQ. Yeah? And therefore, all the burnouts we've seen, all the people we train, it's mostly on the social capacity. So if we go on with self, what will be the next step on self, or on the EQ? The next step is people. And always on the one-to-one. Direct contact to other people, direct leadership, direct coaching. And you can apply everything you learned at looking at yourself. If you do some tests on yourself, on behavior or character, you can also apply it in your direct contact to others. And therefore personality analysis is so important on self. The third step is making it more complex. We go to team. And this is 1 to many, 1 to n. And then all of a sudden, these people start reacting on each other. Ooh, that's a problem. That makes it more complex. We will go into that this afternoon. And what is the most difficult on the social X? You can say the organization, and of course you're right, but the organization is just a very big team. Even the nation is a very big team, even Europe is a very big team, even the world is a very big team. So the biggest problem on the social X is change. Making people change, making a change in the company, that's the biggest problem. And this all comes from this beautiful term, homeostasis. And that means that everything wants to go back to its normal form. Even if you take a cell in your body and you press it, it will go back to its normal form. And this is what all people want. To make a change hurts. I want to lose some weight. I know it's better for me, but it hurts to get there. Yeah, so this is the social X. But this circle can be perfect. Very big, very round, all axes, top. Does it mean that the person is willing to bring all that capacity, all that energy to me, to my company? I need something else for that. And that's our fourth X. And that's the SQ. So what's the SQ? We can say spiritual, yes, but if we do that, all the businessmen leave the room. So we prefer not to. And McKinsey called it the meaning X. We call it the sense. So, not surprisingly, 4 aspects. What is the sense? The sense is giving me the why. Why would I spend all this capacity, all this energy to the purpose of that person? That first has to do with my identity. Hey, didn't we hear that word before? Who am I? What do I stand for? And connected to that, my values. What is important to me? If you do not believe in the values of the company, if you do not believe in the values of Europe, you will not go for it. Yeah. I was trained at the military academy, and we were there with 150 first-year cadets. Within 2 months, we lost about 50 people, and I may say the best. I stayed, telling something about me, but why did these people leave? They were selected, 1 out of 100, so they were good people. But why did they leave? Because they couldn't stand the way they had to live in the military. 24/7, no privacy. Stupid people yelling at you, telling you to take off your clothes and go into the water at 12 o'clock in the night. These kind of stupid things, they couldn't cope with it. So they left. Their values were not met. And I saw the same in the accountancy. I saw the same actually in every company. The third one is about your drives. This is your passion, your ambition. And the last one is the quest. Your ultimate goal, your ultimate dream, what is really important to you. In an Olympic year, we have no problem at all in having our sports people to the utmost. In the post-academic Olympic year, then it's a challenge. Yeah, how do we get them motivated when that big purpose is no longer there? And this SQ is like the flag on the ship. It's like the sails of the ship. It will make the ship go in a certain direction. So if we are talking about leadership, where should we go? What X is important for a leader? Of course, all X's are important. If I do not have the people with the right skills, they will not perform. If they are physically not fit, they will not perform. Okay, that's basic. But if I want them to deliver maximum performance to me, then I have to touch them on the SQ. And I must make sure that on the EQ, everything is okay. The concept of the 4X is clear? Yeah, any questions on it? Okay. So, if we look what we can do with it, then we have to define management. So, what is a leader? What is a manager? And it has a development. I think we already discussed this shortly before. When did this term manager pop up? When did we first? Actually, education is the reflection of society. In society, something happens, and then people need to be educated on it. They need some knowledge about it. They need some skills. So, as educational people, we invent something, everybody happy. Yes? So, when did all these courses about management start? Please don't sleep yet. change of society, and we discussed it was somewhere around the Industrial Revolution. Yeah? 1870, the first MBA, and everything connected to it. So, what did we expect from the manager of those days? If you look at companies like Ford at that moment, building cars, what kind of skills did the managers need? What was the concept of Charlie Chaplin's Industrial Revolution? Did they need hard workers? People were not interesting at that moment. What they needed is that everything was well organized. Logistics was in place. And people were part of logistics. You needed to have your machines in place and the people with it, because this was part of production. So it's all about technical skills, organize, plan, logistics, whatever. If people are not there, no problem, it's easy to get new ones in. There were always enough people at the gate who wanted to take their place. But if you didn't have the right resources, production stops. So that was the challenge for the managers. And then, the next period, first half of the last century, what was society? What was it all about? 2 world wars, small crisis in between. The whole world is on fire. What do we need? People to help us to find the way out. And this was also in the last crisis. Yeah? So, what does a leader do? What does the leader have to give us? Hope, inspiration, a purpose connected to the axis. What did we lose during the war and the crisis and whatever? We lost the why. We lost our ambition. Hey, why should I do it? It's hopeless. So the SQ had to be filled again. So they inspire us, they give us hope, they give us vision, mission. That's the role of a leader. And then the World War ended, and everybody put his shoulders on it. And if you look at this line, it means that all of a sudden people were important, and that stayed. Then we had the 60s and the 70s. Most of you did not live that, I did. What kind of period was it? Steve's eyes start shining. I don't know why, but... Yeah, sex, drugs, rock and roll, freedom. And why? Why? All this time, and especially after the World War, people had to be united to rebuild. And now rebuilding was quite good. There was a social network, it was no longer that important. So people had the luxury to go back to individualization. And these individual people also came to work in the companies. Is it still possible for one leader or just a logistic manager to manage them? What do these people want? So what kind of courses were coming up a lot in the 60s and the 70s? This was the era of coaching. Individual needs individual help. And it's about motivation, stimulation. So what is the difference between a coach and a trainer? A trainer is bringing you knowledge, competences that you do not have yet. It's coming from outside in. A coach tries to get everything you already have into practice, inside out.
And which is the difference between give hope and motivate?
Motivation is personal. In this case, it's personal. I try to motivate you. Giving hope means that the whole company is going down. Nobody believes it will work. So you no longer have the hope that this company will survive. What will you do? You go to the coffee machine and you talk to some other people and you discuss and you all have the same opinion. This is hopeless. And then you need someone to pull you out. Not just you, but the whole group. And this is the leader. But then I need to motivate you as a person to give your best and to fulfill your individual needs, which can be different from the rest.
But then a leader has to be a good coach too.
These are different roles. We come back to that later. So please repeat the question if we come to that concept. Yes? Okay, thank you. So it goes from collective to individualization. And then we have the next period, somewhere at the end of the last decade. And what was that? What was the problem for the companies in those days? Maybe in Spain it was a little bit different, but we definitely faced it. The baby boom got pensioned. And what is the problem for the companies? Losing knowledge. All the old people with a lot of experience and knowledge left the company. Wow. So then we invented something we called the mentor. And this is not a mentor in a coaching way, but the mentor is giving the example. He's coming and just saying, okay, I take your hand, I show you once, twice, just repeat it, and then you will be fine. Yeah? Okay. And what about now? What is the newest development in leadership, in management roles? What are we talking about now? And then we immediately have part of the answer to your question. No one? What is? It's close to that, yes. It's definitely part of it. We call them the bridges. And why? What do we expect from a manager nowadays? Which of the four roles we mentioned before is closest to what we expect from a manager nowadays? Tell me. Yeah, but which of the four roles, from manager to mentor? Perfect answer. She said all of them. I mean, if you're a great coach to your people, but you suck at management, you do not manage at all, you do not talk about policy, about new visions, and you cannot lead your people on the content, where are you as a manager? And this is for every role. We expect, in sports, it would mean that as a football player, you would have to be able to play on all positions. Left, right, front, back, even goalkeeping. Is that possible? We ask from a person to do it all. Is that realizable? I think asking the question is answering it. So, you will always be better on one or the other. You have your strength on one or the other, and you always have some weak spots. And this is why we try to make these aspects separate, because it will help us to discuss with people where do we have to strengthen them on this. So if we look at the roles, it's like this. So, I'll take the black one. Let me look at the role of management. In the middle, we have the role as an expert. And we have a lot of people who only have the role as experts. Look at this educational company. We have teachers, we have people in the back office. They are just experts in what they do. And they need to be managed. So where are the roles of management in this? Where does it start? With which role of management does it start? Where does management start? Which of the four roles you saw before? IQ. It normally, hopefully, will start with the leader. What does the leader have to do? What is the main purpose for the leader? To inspire people. To set somewhere a point at the horizon. Where do we go to? That's the main purpose. And then communicate it in the right way. If people don't hear it, it doesn't help. And why do we need that? Because we need to touch people on the SQ. We need to give them the why. So their passion, their ambition must be aligned with the passion and ambition of the company. The second role is the manager. So what will the manager have to do? He will have to organize. So it can happen. What will be the next role? There's one role in between. You always have to be sure that we have the right expertise. So we very often need the mentor or the trainer. Why? To bring competences. Knowledge. Skills. Yeah? And this is outside in. And then, yes, without a coach, nothing will happen. At least the coaching role of the manager, because that is action. Do it. And it's always like this. Yeah? And then this is the inside out. And what is important that you understand that each of these roles always apply on each level. But it does not necessarily mean that these are different people. Every manager has all 4 roles. Some have it 90% on leadership, 10% on the rest, some the other way around, but you always have all 4 roles. And if you do not see that, then you have a problem. So, I think you already saw that coaching is one of the most important things. This animal thinks it's bound. It has no freedom. It has no possibilities to do it. Is that true? Of course it's not true. But he doesn't realize. Or she, I don't know. Whatever. I heard in Spain you don't make the difference, or in Hungarian language you don't make a difference in the things, so that may be easier. So it's important to understand that there's a big line over here. And Dimitar already mentioned it. If we look at the axis, management, mentorship, and training, what axis are we talking about? This is mostly about IQ. And the other side, leadership and coaching, EQ and SQ. Yes? So it's a law in business, and I think it's a law in every place where people are organized. It's very easy to put management, trainership, whatever, outside. I can hire a manager, I can hire a trainer, no problem at all. But there's one thing as a manager I cannot do. I cannot put leadership and coaching outside. That's my job. I have to inspire the people, and I must make sure that it's done. Yeah, very important. So if we can transport this idea to European Union, who will have to inspire the people? Who will have to do the communication to the people? That has to come from Europe itself. But this is only my opinion. You can think completely different, and we can discuss it later. So, oh, wait. What I'd like you to do, as a small exercise is 2 things. We always talk about the backbone, and that's the SQ. And the SQ as a backbone is your personal backbone, but you can also put it higher to the company's backbone, or even to the nation's backbone, or even to Europeans' backbone. So what I would like you to do is first think for yourself. And you can walk wherever you want. You can even go to the library or to the courtyard or whatever. Take 10 minutes for yourself to think about your backbone. What is your identity, your values? What is your ambition, your passion, and your quest? Second, then transport it to the higher level, bless you, and transport it to Europe. what is the backbone for Europe? And this is an exercise all companies do. And they just merged two big banks in Belgium. And the first thing we did with them was create a new backbone. Because without it, we couldn't inspire the people, we couldn't match the two different cultures. And you cannot have a cultural change if you do not know where to go to, and you do not change the why for the people. Yes? Is this something clear to you, that you're willing to do? Otherwise, you have 10 minutes break. Yeah? Okay, see you in 10 minutes.
We have the coffee now at 11. Yeah.
That word, sorry. I was just corrected by the big master himself. And we combine it with the coffee break. So you have 40 minutes, I think. No? How long?
Ready, so half an hour.
You have half an hour for the combined coffee drinking and the exercise. Thank you.